Good morning, Lionhearts. Today, we look into the life of Janis Joplin. In 1970, Janis Joplin, while living in Los Angeles to record her final album, Pearl, would be found dead in her hotel room of an overdose of heroin. They said that her liver was actually twice its normal size and that her brain suffocated. A woman who spent her entire life just trying to be accepted would succumb and join the club of those who died at the age of 27. And it really kind of went all the way back to her days in Port Arthur, Texas. It was kind of like a family event to go to the post office and check out the wanted posters. She was always just enthralled by seeing those and always just had this major fascination with being an outlaw, so it wasn't any kind of surprise, especially considering her mother was a musician, that Janis would eventually be discovered playing the Monterey Pop Festival and overnight be propelled into international stardom. When Janis passed away, she was, like I said, recording her final album, Pearl, and Pearl was kind of an alter ego to Janis. She was the sexy, outrageous, outlaw version that Janis couldn't be in her real life, or that's the character she ended up becoming. See, when she was young, living in Texas, she was constantly made fun of for her weight, for her looks. She was, throughout high school, called a lesbian, and some actually say that she did probably prefer women. And she would go on to college and actually be voted the ugliest man on campus. So she was dealing with all these internal battles that would eventually, when she went on to San Francisco and became kind of this Pearl figure, she would go on to live in excess. Drugs, alcohol, and lots of men and lots of women. Now, Janis herself would even say in interviews and on stage that she would indulge in sleeping with other celebrities and that she always feeling left out and kind of just ostracized. She actually said that she was more of a tomboy. That she would indulge later in life in all the things that she couldn't indulge in life when she was in high school and college. So at one concert, she actually said on stage that she had slept with Joe Namath. Now, Janis had actually overdosed multiple times. It wasn't until the fourth time that actually killed her. And that was even kind of a crazy story, because if you've seen the movie The Rose, it was kind of loosely based off of her story, where she goes back to her college reunion, or I mean her high school reunion, and feels that she's going to be like accepted now that she's like this rock star. And they still make fun of her, they still treat her that way, they still vilify her in the local press, and kind of sends her back into a spiral when she had been pretty clean, and actually was so proud of being clean that when she was going to Canada at one stop, she had screwed around with the customs officers, making them think that she had drugs, and was laughing about it the whole time because she knew that she was like finally clean. She goes to this reunion, feels basically the same way she did when she was in high school, and starts using again while she's out here recording Pearl. The last night of her life, she had been recording at the studio. A couple of her bandmates had went to Barney's Beanery with her for a few drinks, and 2 hours later she was dead in her room. Now, Pearl would be the album that we would all come to know because of her version of Mercedes-Benz and Me and Bobby McGee. This would also be the last thing that she ever recorded. Now, even though when Janis came to work on this album, she was, most people believe, sober. She was not using any drugs. Heroin was a little bit of a different drug because that's a drug that gets into your psychosis and it actually makes you crave it for quite a while even after you're clean. And so they believe the combination of her being in a city that wasn't hers and then being bored in a hotel room while others were recording, and they think it just led her down the path once again. Now, I think the thing that was just so amazing about Janis's voice and her music was that there was this strength, yet pain, yet discomfort and solace in her voice that you couldn't match. She almost didn't even need a band behind her. She could convey everything in the music with just her vocal cords. And now it's pretty obvious that a lot of that pain that she would go through growing up, where she would say the whole world turned on her when she entered high school because she was a heavy girl and she had acne problems, and said that people were just ruthless and relentless to her. It's sad ending that it would all end here in Hollywood. Right off Hollywood Boulevard, in fact. One of the interesting things that they always kind of said in biographies about Janis Joplin was that in a lot of ways she almost had arrested development. She never really grew up after a certain age, and she would always kind of be naive and fearful, except when she got on stage. She became a completely different person. She became kind of Pearl. And sadly, pretty much the way that she lived her life through high school, college, even in San Francisco, she was a loner till the end. Well, that's where they filmed the Enchantment Under the Sea dance stuff from Back to the Future. And if you look straight ahead, you can see the replica from D.W. Griffith's Intolerance. That's the Hollywood and Highland Mall. Soon, very soon. Well, here it is. The final night of Janis Joplin. Now it's called the Highland Gardens Hotel, but it once was the Landmark, which is where it was, what it was when she stayed here. Officially ruled dead on October 4th. Janis Joplin, as I said earlier, her last night, she was recording in the studio, had went with a few of the band members to Barney's Beanery, drank quite a bit for about an hour, came home to here, did a lethal dose of heroin, came back down to the lobby from her room, I believe it was 105, came back down here, got a pack of cigarettes, talked to the night man, and went back to her room where she died on the floor. Unfortunately, the fact that she had quit recently before that and started back up, her tolerance was so low, she just couldn't handle it. She came back down to this lobby and bought some cigarettes from the night man, talked to him for a while, went back to her room and passed away. A woman who gave a little piece of her heart every time she performed was no longer alive. Officially ruled dead on October 4th, 1970, and joining the unfortunate curse of the class of 27s, those rock stars who die at the age of 27, joining Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, and now Janis Joplin. Since this is the last evening that Janis Joplin would have been alive, let's take a walk up to the front and take a look at where she would have left her car and taken the last walk up the steps into the hotel. She would have actually went into the entrance right there where those stairs are. Very fitting. Well, good evening, my friends. I hope you guys enjoyed the vlog today on the life and death of Janis Joplin. I've been planning on doing that for a while. Somebody was actually going to rent that room at one point, let me vlog it that way, but it just hasn't happened, and I was really feeling compelled to do it today. My sister has always been a big Janis Joplin fan, and I thought this would be nice to do for her. So I hope that she enjoys this, especially because it's right down the street. I've actually planned on going to that place before, but I was going to do the whole Shep Gordon story, and if you don't know anything about him, some point you will. But I was walking past there yesterday on my way home from seeing the Platinum Ladies of the Silver Screen statues, and I just thought, you know what? Why put it off? Janis's death anniversary had just happened at the beginning of this month, and I didn't do it then. I probably should have, so I'll do it today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you somehow have never heard Janis Joplin's music, go listen. There is not a voice that you will hear that sounds anything like her. I mean, there are some people that just will always stand out to me, especially female vocalists, because I've kind of always gravitated towards men's vocalists, so when a really great female vocalist comes along and like really gets my attention, it's worth noting. You know, Janis Joplin, Sarah Vaughan, Regina Spektor, people like that, they should always be mentioned, and so today was Janis Joplin. So go listen to her music if you've never heard it. And if you've never seen The Rose, maybe go watch The Rose. So that's it. Daze with Jordan the Lion daily vlog. It's over for today. If you would like to donate or become a Patreon, it's patreon.com/JordanTheLion, or just simply on PayPal, dazewithjordanthelion@gmail.com. If you saw the hats the other day, I actually have a small number of hats that I'm going to make available only on Facebook. So if you are not part of the Facebook group, join the Facebook group. It's Daze with Jordan the Lions. That's it. Daze with Jordan the Lions. And in the next couple days or whenever the hats show up, I'm just going to put one up at a time, and whoever wants it, first come, first serve. They just got to claim it. Pretty simple. So have a great night, guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye. And just so nobody complains about not getting to see him, there he is. It's the end of the day, but he's in there. Just a nose.